Hello, Jojo from Cacao Sauce.
Hi, Fran.
I'm here in Guatemala, San Marcos. So tell me about you and cacao.
Me and cacao, like how I discovered it, or
Yeah, what is your
what's
journey with cacao?
my journey. Um, so I discovered I was a chef in the past. I used to work in kitchens in Montreal a little bit, and then I left Montreal and went on an incredible journey south. And through a lot of adventures, I don't want to go into too much in details, I ended up being part of a circus horse caravan in southern Mexico in the Mayan lands. It's a collective called the Nomads United. Long story short, we're 30 people from all around the world, and we're traveling in a very slow travel, very ecological roots way, and we practice art. And we live around the fire, we work in the farms, we go from village to village, and we started in Zapatista, in the free Mayan lands of southern Mexico. Not so many people know about the Zapatista. They're autonomous, and it was mind-blowing. And there, I got touched by, oh, there's a very ancient Mayan tradition with chocolate, which I didn't know from before, even if I was a chocolate freak, can you say that? Like a chocolate lover since I was a kid. And then I'm like, wow, Mayan cacao, Mayan cacao. And I checked a little bit and I look at the history and it blows my mind. And then it goes on, and you know, we're living a very tribal life, a very nomadic, artistic life. And us preparing cacao that we would source from the villages where we were at, we were in super lost places because we're traveling by horse. So we're avoiding asphalt roads. You know, we're going like far out into the isolated, and so we source the cacao, and we prepare it around the fire, and it became very much of a ceremony for us. And then as artists, I can't tell you, so like it impacted us a lot, and this journey impacted all of us a lot. We traveled like that for 8 months. Um, it was unbelievable, and then we arrived in like close to Fray Bartolomé de las Casas, kind of in the center, close to Petén, in the north of Guatemala. And we wanted to go to the Caribbean. And I'm saying all that because then I arrived in some cacao farms where there were springs. And I was at a very special time of my life, and I started drinking cacao and meditating above springs in cacao forests. And I had visions. I had clear visions of like, I need to do something about this. And that's when I started exploring around. I was out of the caravan, and I was traveling with cacao seeds and making chocolates on the road in the hostels. And then I would make my little chocolate in the hostel, and everybody could smell. And I was like, no, I'm gonna sell in the street and stuff. But then I would sell most of it in the hostel. You know, that was my technique. And then I would play music in the street. And then I came here and I discovered the whole ceremony of cacao seed, and it blows my mind. I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. People connecting with this ancient Mayan medicine that the grandmothers were telling us about in the villages, and it's multicultural suddenly, and it brings in all the many new age aspects, and I see so many beauty and ecstatic dance. You know, at that time it was still mind blowing to me. I was like, oh, thank you. Yes, let's dance for dancing. And so I was so happy about meeting this community, and I discovered the whole cacao ceremonial scene. But slowly my high goes down. You know, it breaks down because I realized that there is zero consciousness awareness about the source, the origin. And I just spent a year with super isolated communities that are extremely, and when I say extremely, I mean that most of us people, or many of us, or maybe I'm gonna just speak for myself. I had no idea about like how isolated villages in exploited region, what does it look like? And I saw the contrast between poverty that is great, people living without money but they don't need it because they have a lot of lushness, and then misery, that's completely different, you know. And in a lot of the village they experience this misery. And so for me, talking about these people was key because they really impact my life a lot. And a lot of these people live in surrounding with cacao forest in some regions of Guatemala, some of them that we went through. And then almost all of it is primordial desert, by the way. This is some rare bubbles that we were seeking because this is where there's still a little bit of abundance. It's not desert of palm oil. And desert of palm oil means even more misery, so we're kind of avoiding that. Parenthesis closed. So I'm here in San Marcos, and people doing ceremonies. So much cosmic, beautiful, spiritual opening. And then I ask, okay, where does the cacao come from? What region? What Mayan nation? You know, is it the Kekchi? Is it the Kaqchikel, the Tzutuquil, the Ixil, the Tzeltal from Chiapas? You know, like this matters. And also, what impact does the ceremonial cacao scene have on these people? Because their cacao farming is collapsing. The cacao forests are sick, like we know nowadays. Sorry, this is very long. So yeah, basically there was a big disconnection when we arrived here. When I arrived here, it was like 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, and I didn't get really clear answer, or worse, I was getting lied to, like, oh yeah, the cacao comes from the coast. I'm like, excuse me, there's like 700 kilometers of coast in this country, and also which coast? Anyway, and so that's where I started working here and there with different projects, bringing up the question of the sourcing, and the ethical sourcing versus fair trade, etc., etc. And that's how I met Dorothy and Lawrence, my partners in Cacao Source. Dorothy is a permaculturist that was coming from a cacao farm in Costa Rica, and same, she had amazing breakthroughs there, comes here, sees the need for more work that is connecting with the land, with the waters, with the trees, with the forest, and the issues associated with them. Deforestation, you know, deforestation of tropical climate, which is pretty much the biggest issues for all of us humans right now in the world. That's the one thing we should worry the most about. Shaving the jungle never was a good idea. For example, in Mayan history, really wasn't a good idea. And so that's, yeah, I meet Dorothy, and then Lawrence. Lawrence is like a brilliant social business developer, marketing, etc. We realize that the three of us, we can do something amazing, and we do. And that's how Cacao Source emerged. And then we're so in coherence with our vision of like finding a way to bring coherence between ethical sourcing and the integrity and the regenerative work and the hands in the dirt and being in connection with the communities and stuff, and then also making the bridge with the spiritual world and all the amazing awareness, openness, heart openness that it's involving, and in the middle creating a true, powerful, strong, and disciplined social business that really incarnates the bridge between these two worlds. And that's how Cacao Source emerged. Since then, it's been like spiraling like this, because our core is really pure. Like we have strong visions, and the goals are so easy. It's like the lands are there, we know what to do, people are there, and it's about bringing always more resources, more land, reforesting, more techniques of convincing landowners to reforest versus doing monocultures or deforestation. Always convincing cacao lovers, cacao chocolate lovers all around the world to at least dare ask the question, okay, where does my food come from? And then, yeah, it's because then it's like it's a beautiful, very rich, very intense, very dense topic where we can really bring up a lot.
Thank you. So if you have a message for anybody that works with cacao already or wants to start working with cacao, what is your take-home message for them?
Thank you. Thank you for connecting to this amazing medicine. And I'm sure you do it with authenticity and integrity. And if you don't, well, maybe it's a good time to start considering what's your ethos, what's our ethos, and why does it matter? Why is it, for me, it's the most important.
Gracias, Jojo, Matios.